I'm calling this meeting to order. This is the work session, Tuesday, May 23rd, 2023. It was postponed until 12:30 in the Board of Supervisors Executive Conference Room, 1415 Melody Lane, Building G, Bisbee, Arizona. Any item on this agenda is open for discussion. We will start with the roll call. District 1.
Crosby is here.
District 2.
Supervisor English is present.
And Supervisor Judd is here representing District 3. Work sessions, or members of the public may also attend this meeting via Microsoft Teams, computer or mobile app, or via phone by calling 602-609-7513 or 888-680-6714. Conference ID is 417-622-571#. If you have trouble accessing this meeting remotely, call 520-432-9200 for direction. Work sessions are a time for county staff to inform and discuss agenda items with the Board of Supervisors, and public comments will not be taken. Introductions will be as we speak. If someone is contributing, I will introduce you though, by the way. But during the discussion, just so we have that on the record, if someone feels like they should speak up, we will introduce that as the way we normally do it. The item for discussion today is discussion and possible direction regarding facilities department information update, including updates on completed, current, and future projects for the current fiscal year and the fiscal year 2023 through 2024 facilities capital improvement plan. And it's Mr. Henry Mraz, who's I might have said that wrong. Mraz, who is our facilities director. Thank you very much, and we will proceed.
Well, thank you for having us. Try to keep this work session simple. I think we've got 10 slides to go through. First one, this is just for this fiscal year to date. The number of work orders, 1,111 work orders. And again, for those of you who have been around for a few years since I got here, I've kind of preached that the big things with employees right now is comfortable working conditions. The HVAC is very important to them, and electricity. With the times, all these electronic gadgets and stuff we have, the need for electricity is ever more important. Okay. Sources of funding. Next slide. Facilities. Right now, generally, we usually only have about 3 sources of funding, but most recently with ARPA, that funding source has come into play for us. Generally speaking, I have, I believe it's like $500,000 that's given to me for the basic work order repairs. And that would be in that repair and maintenance. Then I have the Building Enhancement Fund. I usually get about $1 million there. Those are for these medium-sized renovations and projects that I try to tackle without going to the board for funding. And then there's the bigger projects which are tapping into capital funds. And we have the ARPA funds. And as far as facilities goes, we use that ARPA fund to reimburse that $1.5 million HVAC project that we took on at the courthouse. So I'd have to defer to Sharon. The transfer was a full $1.5 million.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it a reimbursement. It was a direct expense from ARPA for those invoices. It was $1.5 million.
It was the full cost. So. Okay.
Sorry, that was Sharon Gilman, Deputy County Administrator.
Oh, good job.
Okay. Next slide. The bigger projects that were either covered by the capital fund or building enhancement projects that were planned that did get done this year was the BDI criminal remodel, and it's really turned out well. If you haven't had an opportunity to get out there and look at that, I really encourage you. It's night and day. It's a metamorphosis really well. The Douglas Road Yard office, we finally got that completed. That was a project that kind of seemed to have drifted from one fiscal year into another. So finally got that done. And Wilcox stucco repair. We got another little corner of a building we got to get back there. That was rebuilt, but we've got the major stuccoing done on the outside above where it was damaged, and we're trying to get it ready because the painters should be working their way over there.
Is Miss Gilman choosing colors again? They turned out pretty.
Oh, we are going to stick with this. I'll go ahead and cover it now, but we'll go ahead and stick with the color scheme that's here as we move, and that'll be a lot easier. We're going to use that same scheme in Sierra Vista and in Wilcox and at the Sheriff Admin Building, and that really helps. The less colors that we have, it really helps facilities so that we don't have to have a storeroom with 150 different colors of paint, or we can kind of standardize and keep it. So.
Fine. I'm happy. Thank you.
No, we've got some pretty good feedback from what we've heard, and it's funny because some people, they're either partial to the clay color or to the sage. So I haven't heard anybody say, "Oh, I love them both," but they like one or the other. So unplanned, the new multiple distribution panel, which the board 2 weeks ago just approved that additional, I think it was $33,000 in funding. That was unplanned. Light fleet. We've done a little remodel project over there at Light Fleet, and I say it was unplanned because I didn't have it on the improvement plan last year that I presented to you, but we embarked on that, and the main reason for doing this was to remodel the place so that they could have the proper storage for their parts, and this is all a result of the
Fraud risk.
60, was it 65 North, I think?
Yeah, 65 North.
Yeah.
Rich Karwashka, County Administrator.
So they're trying to get all their parts and stuff in secure rooms. We had to create some offices, and so they should be getting furniture delivered and installed tomorrow and Thursday. And then Benson, right now we are working with a few contractors trying to get some quotes because there's a big glass bubble that encapsulates the stairwell of the Benson Regional Service Center, and it's leaking. And it's altogether 500 linear feet of rubber molding that needs to be replaced. They're going to have to pull some of the windows off and get inside there in silicone and stuff so we can get that place to stop leaking. Yeah. Okay. All right. What is still in progress right now, as I already told you, is the electrical panel. The courthouse HVAC project, I want to tell you that the HVAC itself is pretty much done. There's a few little minor adjustments that are kind of happening, but the HVAC project is done. What we're just finishing up now are these big outdoor electrical components, and then that one multiple distribution panel inside. The exterior painting, we've already talked about it. I think they're just wrapping up today with Melody Lane, and then they're starting in Sierra Vista. So we're kind of happy because the timing of the painting, along with Marty Haverty's effort to get the parking lots here in Sierra Vista fog sealed, it's really helped to beautify the campuses. So I'm grateful to that. And the BDI well, that is with a little luck, they should probably be able to start drilling probably the second week of June. There's been a lot of trouble trying to get applications approved through ADWR with the new AMA that's in place. We are fortunate because as a county, what we're doing is replacing well 8. It's not a brand new well, and we're not using it for irrigation purposes. It's for domestic use. So it's a replacement well. So yes.
Tom Crosby, District 1, what is the interaction between ADWR and the county with the well? And why is it a problem?
Why is it a problem? With the new AMA in place, they need to have forms and applications that they had. We were kind of the driving force with them, and they finally got the applications done, and we submitted it on Friday. They want a $1,000 application fee, so we're trying to get that paid.
If I can just interrupt, Christine Roberts, County Attorney. This AMA that was created is the first one that's been created since the legislation went into place that created the original ones. So this is a learning process for ADWR too, as they figure out how they do this and set up what forms they need and what they need to do to deal with an initiative created AMA.
Okay, so it is pushback. It's just
Right. I almost feel like they're building the plane as they're flying it. And they've been good. They've been good to us. We've had meetings. Myself, Jackie Watkins was part of those meetings, and the ADWR must have had like 20 people present, 5 of which were like lawyers. So it's no pushback. It's just been logistical.
Yeah, it's really just figuring it out. Chris Carlson is our water attorney, our ADWR attorney. He's on the phone with them constantly as they're trying to work this process through. So
Our contractors, just to remind you, we've got Brown and Caldwell. They're basically our project manager oversight vendor. They're submitting all the applications and everything. Just they're getting them ready for me to sign. They're handling a lot of the logistical stuff. KENG is the general contractor, and then they have D&M Well Service that they subbed out to actually drill the well. They are all in place and they're ready to go. So,
Crosby again. Why are you? A minute ago you said something like this was an existing well, but I think that you just said they're drilling a well. So could you elaborate on that?
Good question. So well 8, there is a hole, and a well used to be there. The casing had started to collapse, a lot of gravel, a lot of dirt. If you drill a new hole within, I don't remember, 660 feet of the existing, where the existing well was, then it's not considered a new well. It's considered a replacement well. So we're going to be drilling about 100 feet from where that hole is. Brown and Caldwell has done all their research, and we went out and we've already had soil samples taken, and it wasn't just an arbitrary place out on BDI where we said, let's try and drill here. We use them and their expertise to figure out the ideal location. And it's good. It's going to help us from a logistical standpoint because there's less red tape, and we're going to be able to save money in terms of not needing to trench for new electrical service. You can use the old existing electrical service that used to be at well 8.
Was there ever going to be contemplated 2 wells near the same place? Because I thought I remembered that from past discussions.
So right now, the well we're using is well 7, and it is approximately 300, 400 yards away from well 8.
Okay.
So well 7 is still is the well providing water to the facility. And when well 8 comes online, these 2 wells will alternate delivering water.
Okay, thank you. Sounds good, because that supplies the prison.
Correct. The Sierra Vista Regional Service Center, the HVAC replacement over Building B, the board has approved the funding for that. And with the lead time issues, it's looking like October at this point. Is what they're telling us when the stuff is when they're gonna get all the parts in. We are currently seeking bids to get the finance department remodeled. And it's an area, really, it does need some help. You've got a lot of employees in a small area. Most of them are partnered up in offices with other employees in there. So what's going to happen with this, if all goes well and this remodel happens, they have a big file storage room. They are, Monica advised me that they're like almost all digital now. All the paper is there. So they're cleaning this out. We'll be able to convert that into 3 additional offices. Just barely reshape the hallway system in there, so they'll have a big U-shaped hallway. And what's going to happen, what's neat about that is that staff that are coming from buildings E and F and working their way, they're not going to be walking through the finance area if they need to go out and meet with some member of the public in the lobby area. Right now, it's you got a bunch of other staff, whether it's HR, whatever, they're kind of having to cut through the finance department to get to the door over here and meet with people. So we're going to create a corridor that circumvents the finance area so that they're not interrupted. So. And then we're still on our quest to tackle the signage issue. We have Sharon and I and Camilla and Jane, we have really worked on this, and we haven't had a whole lot of enthusiasm from vendors, or we get them to the table and then they're willing. But now that we got this place and getting it painted, now we need to get some good signage, because this can be a very confusing campus for citizens that they're not here with any frequency. We're really spread out, so really trying to come up with a good signage plan and have it color coded with some good arrows and stuff and help direct you to get to. Any questions? Next fiscal year. Benson. I am in the process right now of getting quotes to replace Benson's HVAC unit. We have been taking care of and repairing that system so that it can get us through the summer. This is a system that runs on R22 Freon, and R22 is getting harder to get. And this system, the units outside, there's a whole bunch of lines, refrigerant lines that go throughout the building, the way the system. So to change it out and get a new system, we can't just reuse these lines. So when the work starts to happen, we have to change out just like what's happened at the courthouse will have to happen in Benson. We think we've got the upper handle on the repairs, but it's been a challenge, and unfortunately, it's only been one of the 2 units that's given us trouble. So, if it wasn't for that extra unit that's not giving us trouble, that's what's helping keep the temperatures somewhat tolerable in there. Maybe not always comfortable, but tolerable. Talked about the Melody Line signage, and the next thing I've asked Daryl to my project manager to get started on trying to get the quotes going on what it's going to take to replace these HVAC systems on the buildings E, F, and G here at Melody Lane. These are huge HVAC units. They're monsters, and they run on R22. So they have kept us busy, and we're constantly trying to just maintain them. But they fortunately we can always get them working again, but they go off kilter and cause problems. So it's going to be important that we try to, this fiscal year, try to tackle that. New roof coating on building A. That would be the health department. Right now, just so you know, we've got building C in Sierra Vista. We've got that roof coated. We've got building B. They're currently, I got a contractor recoating building B. For the most part right now with roofs, we are now in a phase, they're working on Douglas as well, where we're just applying coatings now. It's not that these roofs are so damaged, there's one exception. These roofs right now that we're dealing with, we finally got ahead of it, and now it's just about putting additional coating on some of these other roofs. We're not having to tear roofs off and do these roof systems. We're going to have to look at the HVAC in Wilcox and the roof over the 4th floor of the administration building. We put a TPO roof. The administration building is most of the building, the roof is over the 3rd floor. The very front of the building is a part of it that the roof is over the 4th floor. That roof, it kind of looks like a Spanish tile roof, but it's silver. But what it really is some very corroded metal that looks like Spanish tile. So it's corroded, but we haven't had leaks inside into the 4th floor. What we've experienced is water coming off that roof and kind of working its way and getting into the soffits, and that's what's causing trouble. So I got a contractor that's starting to look at that, because that's going to be a challenge, and they're going to need a massive piece of equipment to extend up 4 stories to try and get that fixed. But so older buildings bring with them a lot of maintenance. I've got in here potential funding requests that I think the board you'll be dealing with this week or next week.
Next week.
Next week. The ones that would affect facilities could be.
Sorry, this week for.
This week.
I was mixing up my weeks. They run together.
Okay. The ones that would affect facilities could be $250,000 to $300,000. Admin
That went
building.
right over my head. What are you talking about?
For the funding requests,
Mhm.
those are mainly right now sizable furniture requests that are out there. There's
That would be included in the funding request.
I think some of those we've resolved internally, so that number might be lower. I think
Okay.
most of it that we'll be bringing before the board is utilities increases.
Yeah.
So the number is actually probably going to be a bit lower since you did this presentation and some of our discussions have been ongoing.
I've got trying to get an overhaul done of the elevator at the admin building, and start looking at trying to get some of the external, the exterior components of the electrical system upgraded there in that admin building. Right now it's pretty well tapped out. That's just, but I want to make sure the courthouse is done before I tackle a new electrical issue. The HVAC replacement in Wilcox.
That was a duplicate.
Yeah, that's a duplicate. My apologies. And then the roof, trying to get an additional coating on that roof over there. And HVAC replacement at the sheriff's office. Most of these units, they have this R22, and last I heard, it's we're paying about $3,000 for a bottle of R22 refrigerant. Only have to kind of,
So like 5 gallons.
so it might be less than that. It's like about the size of a butane, propane bomb. And the thing is that these units, you just can't say, well, let's take the R22 out and put the new stuff in, because it won't run. These units are designed to run on a certain viscosity of the refrigerant, and all the lines and everything in there, it would have to be cleaned, and you just can't clean it and get everything out of there. So, and then let's see, rekey county buildings. This was something that in 2020 was a concerned effort that we ought to look into this. We went so far as to even get bids, and we held off because there was just so much movement within the county. You know, the process of trying to shut down the old high school and get people moved to Sierra Vista or over here, and PubFid was moving, and we had the problems at the admin building. So I believe that it looks like all the movement is starting to settle down, and I don't think seeing the need where we're going to be shifting employees around our departments. And so with that, I'd kind of like to look and revisit that issue of trying to get things rekeyed. When we were looking at this in 2020, it was on the heels of when we were moving full steam ahead to really get to the badge access, especially for the exterior. For the board members' benefit, where departments they're not giving all the employees keys to the front doors of the building. They're using and this helps to be able to use this, because if you have an employee that separates from service for some unpleasant reason, now you can just on the computer lock them out, and you're not trying to get a hard key from them. Does that make sense?
Here's a question, Mr. Meadows. Crosby District 1, is R22 the predominant modern industrial AC product, or is it archaic?
It's archaic. It's getting archaic. Even 410 would be the current, but even now 410 is starting to, we're hearing that 410 is starting to kind of get into that aging category, 10A. And it's just part of the industry. I think I think they move to try and get greener and have better products. But the industry is also, they're just changing. You know, if you go to buy a refrigerator now, a life expectancy of a refrigerator is, 10 to 12 years. Washer or dryer, unless you really baby them, they're not making them to last 30, 40 years. The industry is kind of making stuff, so you have to kind of keep going back and upgrading and buying new stuff.
One thing that bothers me, Henry, about this capital building enhancement projects is you replace all the HVAC units, and then cyclically you're going to replace them all again at the same time. And I thought we talked years ago about this needs to be sequential rather than dumping it all at one time.
We've done a lot in 3 years. In my ideal world, I would like to have come here and said, Henry, somebody would have said, we got a system here that's pretty good. You've got 12 years to kind of spread this out. I feel like I've been stamping out fires since I got here, and I do believe it's like, as far as roofs are going, we're now at a point where we're not having to worry about replacing roofs. We can just kind of fix them. The AC systems, we have been here and there you know, spending 8,000 replacing this unit here, or 5,000 replacing another. I keep spending that on my budget for an isolated one that goes out here and there. But the reality is that some of these buildings have, you know, 15, 20 units on top of them. And when they start going, we could kind of try to piecemeal it. But we just need to get on it and fix it. I can only hope that in 15 years, any units that we're replacing now, then it's not so critical, because these have reached their life expectancy and an additional 5 years on it. So, and I hear your concern, Supervisor, loud and clear. I don't want to be here 20 years from now doing this all over again, you know, in a 3-year period, or if it's not me, somebody else. But it's breaking down, and all I can do is try and tend to it.
Thank you.
Page, since I've been here, I've said my priorities here have been roofs and HVAC units and electrical system upgrades and the paint. We've got buildings that have been here for 23, 25 years and didn't get painted, and look at all that we had to spend on stucco repair just to get them ready for paint again. It's just one of those things that people think, wow, how important is paint? No, it becomes important. And then the next page is a list of the roofs. These are big roofs. These are big roofs. Since I got here, the Juvenile Detention Center in Sierra Vista, the county jail, we took care of that roof. Administration building above the 3rd floor, the county attorney's office, the courthouse, Melody Lane Building C, that'd be over procurement. That was a metal roof. And foothills. We did and so now we're just recoating those roofs now, and so it was the Regional Service Center. They just finished it last week, and Douglas, they're almost done with it, and I'm probably gonna. They put 2 coats on there. I think I'm gonna do a change order and have a 3rd coat put on there, because that roof, it was when they really started to power wash it and strip it down, there was nothing left of that coating. So you need to get it done right, and then we're working on building B right now.
Got a question? Sure. Crosby District 1. What was addressed as foothills when it leaked back the last monsoon season?
Oh, last monsoon season. Interesting thing there. It wasn't the roof that was leaking. Remember, we cut away a portion of the building, the old jail. We cut that away and we hauled it off. And so what was happening is water was coming off these roofs and running down what used to be an interior wall made of block is now roofs. And there were no awnings or anything, so water was getting in through doors, the seals around doors. That's what was causing it.
I see.
It wasn't the roofs that were leaking. It was.
That's at the north end of that building.
Yes, sir. So we got an awning installed above the door. The other thing that was happening was we now had this nice flat, huge piece of concrete out there that the jail used to sit on, and it's nice and flat. And so when it would rain, that water would really puddle up, and then it was kind of building up and coming in from underneath the door. Normally, when you have exterior concrete, it's sloped just a little bit, so it rushes away from your building. But so we had to go in and cut into the concrete and install some equivalents like storm drains. So Okay, and then, so HVAC systems, we replaced all the units in Foothills West. Benson, we're working on now and trying to get the quotes. Sierra Vista Building B, the board's approved that, and we're waiting on them to be delivered and installed. The training center down here, we replaced those two. The IT server room, that's a very, very unique HVAC system. It flows under the floor, and to help keep all that equipment cool in there, and the courthouse.
Anything further to add about utility increases? Sharon mentioned it before.
Good question. Last fiscal year, Dan Duchamp, we were pretty good, and we got we did an increase for electrical on our electrical lines, and we did pretty good. So this fiscal year, we didn't feel the impact. We made an adjustment, and going into this fiscal year, what we're finding is that we missed CCOM. So we got the increase factored in for CCOM on electrical. The other thing that's is the gas. We've got increases in natural gas. For the most part, the increases that Southwest Gas has reported to us have been predictable to budget for. The one that's not is Wilcox, because Wilcox isn't on, they're not with Southwest Gas. The city of Wilcox runs gas, water, sewer, something else. Okay. And they get
Electric.
they get it directly from El Paso Natural Gas, and that could vary from 1 month to another depending what the stock market is shot. So Benson also gets natural gas directly from El Paso Natural Gas, but our building in Benson is not, it's all electric.
Do we use gas for heat?
Heating, this heat, the winter time, on water heaters. Yeah, so so overall, the impact of the increase in utilities is we planned for it, the bulk of it last year. So this fiscal year shouldn't be too long.
Aren't your HVAC units heating and cooling?
Most of them are heating and cooling.
So we might be able to get rid of natural gas in Wilcox.
Oh yeah, if we go to all electric.
Yeah, we'll just replace a few water heaters and then.
The natural gas heating is more cost efficient for heating than an all electric unit. But,
Well, there, you got to think about that. That's why you get paid the big bucks. That's why we all
but
get paid.
Again,
Well,
I want to say thank you to the board because I got here and I've been on my bicycle ever since. And we've got a lot of stuff done. And I thank you because the board has let me get it done.
We have a really big, expansive campus. There's a lot of buildings.
It's a lot.
Every now and then you mention one and I think, where's that? Like the admin building, I had to put it up on the hill for myself.
No, and I know, like the crews are out there, no one thinks about it, but they're out there working on roofs, my crews are out there working on roofs at these, where the towers are. People don't think, okay, there's a tower on top of that mountain and there's a building that houses these servers and stuff in there. And those things need to be cooled down, and we have to keep AC going in there and cool it down in the summer so they don't overheat, and then those roofs leak and what have you. So, you start, figuring all these little roofs, the fee sheds, all the little fee sheds, trying to get on top of those and get those little roofs done. So we're trying to get metal roofs on there because the metal seems to last a lot longer. So
Good. Well, thank you. Is there any other comments by the board or staff?
I just think, make the comment again that, when you have nice looking facilities, it's enjoyed by the employees and it's enjoyed by the public. And I think that part of our goal is to make them feel comfortable, both the employees and the public, when they come into our buildings. And so the endeavor to get everything fixed up and painted is a very worthwhile project, because no one wants to work in a building that feels like that it's not taken care of, and no one wants to enter a building. I found that in the schools, that the children do better in classrooms that are airy and feel good, and they're open space, and so thank you for continuing to watch out for the landscaping. It wasn't something that we could accomplish in-house, and so let's keep using contracts to extend our forces into things that they don't have to do, that we can get other people to do for us.
Well, and I've always maintained these buildings are assets to the county. We keep them up. How do I put this? If we keep them up, they may not add value, but you let them go,
People
they'll depreciate quick.
just wanted to, on her comment, not only that, before you came, people were actually complaining about the Wilcox Center and the Benson Center, and they're not complaining anymore. So the work that you've done thus far, keeping the weeds down and things, have made a big difference, because they will complain. People will complain if they have a chance. They look for stuff to complain about, I think. And it's been a long time since I've had any complaint about our facilities. So I believe that we may be done, and we'll have another short break. So there's nothing else to say. I'm going to adjourn this meeting at next meeting. There's something else to say. Next meeting at 1:30, right here in the Board of Executive Conference, in the Board Executive Conference Room. It's a special board meeting, possible executive session regarding risk management information update and the Arizona County's insurance will update. So I will adjourn the meeting at 1:13.